Yo,
How old are you?
25.
Do you disagree?
What happened? Yeah. I disagree.
Great. What do you got?
All right. So, I think in the Bible, it clearly says like what happened and everything. So, I think, like the Bible pretty much explains to you how Jesus died on the cross for our sins and everything.
Okay, but it doesn't make it true, right? Spider-Man explains how he climbed walls, right, and saved Mary Jane. It doesn't make it true, right?
But no. The difference with the Bible is that it's a religious scripture, right? So it's not like Santa Claus or anything. It's actually something sacred and something real.
Okay,
Because
I
you,
don't
you
care if it's sacred, right? Like, who cares if it's sacred, right? Like, I'm asking for evidence and truth, and all you're giving me is a book of fairy tales. I
okay,
want evidence. I want evidence
okay.
that this shit happened.
So for evidence, right? So I got saved when I was 15 years old, right? And honestly, I was in a bad spot, but God showed me the way and everything, and ever since then, I've just been blessed, dude. So
Okay, so what have you
yeah,
been getting from God?
I've just been happy. Like I used to struggle with like depression and everything, but like as soon as I decided to like pray more and everything, it just vanished. I don't know how, but
Okay.
so
Well, I'm definitely happy that for you, but the problem is that I know it's easy and appealing to attribute this with with God, but unfortunately, you don't know if God cured your depression. Perhaps it was something you did to suppress the symptoms of depression, right? Anybody can think or imagine, right, like a happy place that they go to and they can feel better in the moment, right? You could be, you could be suppressing your symptoms to make it feel as if it's been cured. Um, yeah, how would you possibly say that as how could you possibly attribute this to God? How do you know it's God doing it and not just yourself?
because whenever I pray, I always feel better afterwards.
Yeah. People meditate and feel better, right? People pray to Allah and feel better. Just because you pray and feel better doesn't mean God is actually there. It could be
Well,
placebo.
so do you know the worldwide flood, right? There's like proof of that happening.
Where? Where's the flood? Where's the evidence of the flood?
It's on just it's well, I mean, it's in the Bible. So
Okay.
like
How would you okay, this is the last time I ask you. How do you know the Bible is true?
the reason why I know it's true is because these people existed back in the day, and they witnessed all of these things that happened, like Jesus' resurrection
Okay.
and
How
everything,
how do you know they witnessed the resurrection?
because they wrote about it.
They wrote about it?
Yes.
Okay. So if I write anything on a piece of paper, that means it happened?
Yeah, but your paper didn't stand the test of time.
What do you mean tested time? It's still bad, right? Your Bible's still shit.
The Bible's the best-selling book of all time for 2,000 years.
It doesn't make it true, right? I don't care how good selling it is. It's still not evidence that it's true.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you think can you prove that God doesn't exist?
What God? The Christian God? Sure, I can disprove it. We have the omni paradoxes, the free will omniscience paradox, divine hiddenness, the problem of evil. But that's your job is to give evidence for God, right? Like I
Oh,
don't want to. I'm not here to disprove your God, which is analytical.
oh. All right. I'll follow you, and then I'll come back when I have a more grounded stance.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Keep tapping. Keep tapping. All right. We're getting more people in. Get more people in.
Keep tapping. Keep tapping. All right, we're getting more people in. Get more people in. Keep tapping. Keep tapping.
One, two, Come back, please. Tap, 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 tap. God's imaginary. Keep watching. Let's get some more people to boost. So the reason why the algorithm likes these lives is because people are engaged in it, in the conversation, right? They follow it a lot. So the more you stay on here, the more people will get on. It's actually 1/3 of the 4 points we make more emissions to volcanoes. Yeah. Yeah, humans emit about 60 times more CO2 than all volcanoes combined. But the total amount of CO2 in the world, on the Earth, is a lot more than what we emit, right? But the point is that if you have a system in equilibrium, you add more energy to it, it's going to go, into disequilibrium. That's the entire point. Prove properties self-generated into existence without a source. The same could be said for God, right? How did God's properties get there? They could be necessary. The properties of the universe could be necessary. There's no need for a God. Tap, 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 tap. Get more people in here. What do you make of the Mandela effect? I think it's placebo. There's no good reason to think it's true. People tend to forget things, right? People tend to forget. In fact, we tend to actually remember things that didn't actually happen, right? It's just our brains are so bad at memorizing things that are, very ancient. It's infinite. That's what God is. Okay, great. So we can say the universe is infinite. Why do you call it God as you call it the universe? You're an atheist. There is a need for a source for your worldview. No, that's like saying there has to be a source for God. It's a very ridiculous question. You're welcome to come up though and debate me instead of hiding in the comment section. Instead of being scared in the comment section, you come up and debate me. The source is God. It's begging the question. No argument for that. You're just saying it's God. Trust me, bro. Keep tapping, keep tapping. Follow my YouTube, everybody. Link in bio. I got my YouTube up. Have all my debates there. Talks, interviews, science videos. You can't prove how your magical properties came into existence. LOL. Oh my gosh. It's like talking to a wall. It's like you repeat the same thing over and over again. It's like, don't you get tired of it? Just repeating the same thing all the time. Yeah, it's got to be God. It's got to be God. Do you base your life on 100% proof? No, I don't base my life on proof. I base my life on evidence and reason and observation. I don't need proof. I need evidence. But proof is good too. Oh, we got a guest. We got a guest. We got a guest. Woohoo.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good, I'm good. I just want to make sure that you're not homophobic because I don't like to talk to homophobic people, but do you accept gay people?
Yeah. Now what's your argument?
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I get that out of the way. So,
I'm curious why.
So why do you think God is imaginary?
There's no evidence for it.
Okay, so if I was to give you some sort of concrete evidence, would you believe in God?
Sure.
Period. So like if I was to like prove it to you, what would you become? Like if there was, hypothetically speaking, if there was a God, what would you be? What religion would you
Whatever God it is. Now, do you have evidence for the God?
Yeah.
What is it?
But are like okay, it's so I have to show you, like I have to tell you, but then you have to do your own like read, like you just have to like do your own. You have to look into it, so you can understand it more.
Okay, great. What is it? What's the evidence?
But last time I did this, they became hard headed. So please, I know, like I don't know if you're open minded or anything, but I could tell you. Ready? Yeah, just kill yourself and you'll find God. I promise. It's me again. Remember, I told you this last time. You still didn't do it. Yeah, you
Oh,
remember me. Yes, do it, bro.
I don't know who you are, but every time it happens, so hateful. Hey, what do you got?
Hey, is not imaginary because life itself does not come from non-life, and knowledge and wisdom does not come from non-knowledge and wisdom. And the innate ability for humans to love has to come from a defining source. So I think that's all the evidence that is necessary to point to there being a God.
Yeah, I think that's all nonsense. So life does come from non-life. Life is an emergent property of non-living things.
Can you give
Wisdom
me
is
some
an
evidence of it?
emergent. Yeah, our bodies are made of DNA. DNA is not alive, right? DNA is not a living thing. It's a molecule, right? But when they interact with other molecules in our body, life emerges, right? Because life is a process, not an object. So that's what life means. Life is the interactions of non-living things working together to yield this process of life. And when it comes to wisdom and knowledge, well, these are also emergent properties of the brain. The brain's thoughts can yield the sense of knowledge and wisdom we have. There's no need for a God there.
Well, where do you think everything started?
Well, there doesn't have to be a start. I mean, the universe
How,
could have always been in some way.
well, what if that God could have always been? Because
Okay, what if
everything has
not?
a creation. Everything has a start. You look at like how you look at the cycle of life of any organism, or you look at how even rocks are formed. Like rocks, people don't think about rocks being created, but they come from a process. They come from something. So there had to have been a start to the beginning of everything, of reality. I think it makes more sense to believe in a
Well,
God
no, there
than
doesn't have to be a beginning to reality. There could be some infinite existence, right? Some nature of existence that always was and goes through changes, right? Things change through different states. That's what everything means, right? Our bodies come from soil and grounds and air and water, right? And before that, in the middle of the cores of stars. And before that, gas clouds in the universe. So what we see is a sequence in the universe of changes. Now you're asking me, where does this all start? But perhaps that's a wrong question to ask. Maybe asking where's the start of all this is like asking what's at the edge of the earth. It's a bad question, right? Maybe there's some eternal existence. Or if there was a beginning to this, if the universe did start, well, why does it have to be God? Why can't there be some kind of natural cause for the universe, like a quantum state or a quantum field?
well, the thing is, the universe has to have a cause, and I think we can agree that that anything that comes to be or that is created, it has a cause, and people have different ideas of
Well,
what that
yeah.
cause may be. We think of a Big Bang, but there has to be an uncaused cause. There's no way the universe has always been here because that nothing that
Okay,
exists
well,
can have always
if I grant,
exists.
yeah, I could just easily grant you an uncaused cause, and we just call that a quantum state. It's not a God, it's just a natural entity.
A quantum state, as in everything, as in there wasn't a cause. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there is a cause for our universe, but there is something prior, a quantum field, which precedes everything and is the eternal existence. Is that a valid thing?
I kind of get what you're saying, but for like the universe as we know it to be caused, there had to have been like a push, a first creation that I know, obviously things change, but something had to have started it, I think. And it just makes sense to think that it was an entity with
There's
order that put order into design into the creation.
Yeah. Again, you're not actually listening to what I'm saying here, right? the universe didn't have to have a start. The universe could have always been in some way, but even if it did, it doesn't mean God did it. And when it comes to order in the universe, well, the universe is becoming less orderly over time. So if God made order, he's doing a bad job, right? Like the universe is becoming more disorderly and chaotic through time. But more importantly, we have a mechanism that allows us to understand how chaotic things become orderly in an open system. And that's called gravity, the nuclear force, the weak force, right? These things allow order to come about through chaos. So you never need God. God is never required for our universe to be this way.
Okay. Well, what do you think about things like, for example, like the human eyes and how complex and
They're
how
bad. They're
detailed
terrible.
and
They're
intricate?
terrible. Our eyes are shitty. We can
They're
barely
not,
see.
though.
We can barely
That's
see.
not. I can see pretty well.
No, I
I don't know
can't. I
about
have to
you. I
wear
mean,
glasses, and I have to. We had to
okay.
make glasses to fix our eyesight. People are born
Well,
with
that's
blindness. We can barely see most of the light spectrum in the world. Our eyes are terrible. We had to invent telescopes to see further. We had to invent microscopes. Look how bad our eyes are.
well, yeah, because like obviously there's limitations to what we can see. That doesn't mean they're bad. I mean, we can see a lot more than a lot most other animals in the animal kingdom have even worse eyesight than we do. So compared to like say
Well,
a bat, we have very good eyesight.
well, that's irrelevant because there's many animals like hawks that have way better eyesight than we. But the point remains that we have a natural reason as to why the eye evolved this way. We know how the eye evolved. It's evolution. That's a fact. But there's no need. There's no need for a designer for the eye. And if there is, he did a bad job, right? So you can't point to the eye and say that it's designed because God, when we can easily point to something natural and point to the flaws in our eyes. So you really have nowhere to go with this argument.
Well, the human body itself in a healthy human body where there's no sickness, no illness, no disease, no nothing. The body is flawless. The human body is meant to be
What?
flawless, unless
Flawless. People are born DNA. The
unless
DNA is inherently flawed. Your DNA mutates all the time, right? Mutations occur all the time. Your cells die, they gunk up, they die. We have to drink water every day or we'll die. Life is barely hanging on. The idea that we're perfect and flawless is ridiculous. People can get all kinds of diseases easily, autoimmune diseases. Our immune system attacks itself. That's a stupid design. How could you possibly say that we're flawless?
well, like I said, without disease. So, like you said, the design of the human eye is flawed. Without disease, the design of the human eye is as it should be, is perfect, is functioning. So yes, like obviously we can,
Compared to what?
we can.
What are you comparing the eye to say that we are perfect? What is the comparison there?
Well, I'm not comparing it to anything. I'm just
Then you can't
saying
say, then you can't say it's perfect.
well, I don't think that the absence of life being perfect doesn't point to a creator. Like I think the human body and all the other
In
living
order for you
things
to
out.
say that in order to say that you can point to a creator, you need evidence for it. You need to give more credence towards a creator versus naturalism. The problem that remains, you have not given us a good, solid argument that gets us closer to God. Because everything you just threw at me, I easily threw back at you. If you're going to say that order and complexity requires design, how about God? God is the most orderly thing that could possibly, the most complex thing that can be. If you're going to say that those things need design, well, who designed God? Right? Your argument is self-refuting. It is circular.
Well, you're saying if there's not a God, that the universe may have been caused by a quantum spectrum or, something along those lines. But that is an uncaused cause that doesn't have any order and design. And so you're looking at no order, no design turning into everything as we know it now versus the idea of there being some sort of like entity that is smart, that knows how to create, that created. And I just think, I mean, from my perspective, that just seems way more
If
likely.
everything's no, because if you're gonna, is everything in the universe designed?
Say it again. You cut out.
Is everything in the universe, from a grain of sand to the human mind, are they all designed by God?
Yes.
Okay. If you're going to say that everything's designed, I can say that everything's not designed. And there's no difference between our two hypotheses. They hold the same amount of weight because there's no symmetry breaker between the two that gives us any more credence towards one or the other. They're equal. So if everything's designed, I can just say everything's not designed and we got nowhere. We're literally back to square one. That's why you have no evidence of a creator or design. Simply saying,
Well,
oh, I think it's designed isn't evidence.
Well, the universe itself, and specifically life itself, is composed of a lot of systems. Like the human body is a system. In the human world, you don't see a system that doesn't have a designer, creator. So, and you can't deny the fact that like the human body is
Okay,
a
great.
system.
Who created clouds? Who's in the clouds making the rain come down?
Well, that's part of God's design. Like the water cycle is a system.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, it's a system, but it doesn't need a designer, right? There could be a natural system.
Well, a natural system has to come from a designer, right? Like,
Why?
just because you're saying it's a natural system, like, where does that natural?
You're kicking the can down the road by saying who designed the natural. I can just say who designed the non-natural, right? Who designed God? It's the same thing. It's the same argument you're making. Who designed God?
No. Well, God, if there was a design, so if there wasn't an eternal, uncaused designer, then the idea that everything in the universe was designed by a God, or that everything that's ever existed had a designer, wouldn't make sense, because obviously, like, you could just go further and further back and say, well, who designed that God? Who designed that God? So, like, the idea of God, like, wouldn't even be relevant if we didn't come to terms with there possibly being a God that has just always
it is
been.
irrelevant. Thank you. It's irrelevant. God's irrelevant. We don't need it.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, do you think that, like, so as people, as human beings, would you say that we have any more value than other animal species?
Of course.
So what do you think makes us more valuable if there's not a God?
Well, subjectively speaking, what makes me more valuable is the fact that I can contribute more to the world. I can use my intelligence to help people and change more things for people and help others. What's your point here?
Well, my point is, if there's not a God, then we evolved to be who we are. And we look out for ourselves, we build our society, we care about one another. But so does every other animal species. They're trying to, fight for their survival and thrive and live. And on the basis that there's no God, you could basically say, well, all life is equally valuable or not valuable because there's not.
The same with you.
there's-
You haven't solved anything by saying God exists. Just because God exists doesn't make us valuable all of a sudden, right? The problem remains, even if God exists, just saying God made us, it does not make us any more valuable than if nature did it. Value is subjective. It is not inherent to our nature. It is subjective. You can't just say God and it explains everything. God explains nothing. It gives you no value. Where does God get his value from? He's just there. He just exists, right? God has no value inherently, just like we don't. Get over it and give evidence for God.
So Okay, so this is another topic I'll bring up. So what about morality? What and now a lot of people think morality is I think a lot of people think morality is like subjective, like, well, whatever, if you think that's right, okay, you can have your truth and I'll have mine. It's like I think there's obviously things in this world that or in in life that we know are not moral that everybody can agree upon. Um, and those certain things, like obviously stealing, murder, lying, cheating, all those things are very, very obvious. But there's things that are moral and that are not. And I think there has to be some sort of design behind that because, other people will say, well, some people will say, well, like, mm, well, people will just say people seem to think morality is subjective. And I just think like if there wasn't a God, then you could do whatever the heck you want. It's like, okay, like who says it's wrong?
Whether or not there's a God, you can do whatever the fuck you want. So let's get that out of the way. Adding God to the equation does not give you any objective morality. It doesn't. Just saying God gives us morality, it doesn't make it objective. Because God succumbs to the same problem we do as moral agents. God is an agent. He is a subject. So is something right because God says it's right? Or is there something beyond God, some normative notion of morality beyond God that God is appealing to, right? This is the Euthyphro dilemma. How do you know that God's morality is good or objective when it's just his own opinion too?
Well, so if he created, and if there is a God, that means he created and designed us and designed the world and everything, which means that he set the morals in what's more, he set what's moral into place. So
Okay,
that would
and
mean,
how does God know it's moral?
well, because he knows, if we start partaking in things that are not moral, it's going to harm society. And there's things like, as we know it, that will hurt society if we do them because they're immoral things versus
Yeah.
if we do the right thing. If we do the
Yeah, I
right
know
thing,
there
it's
are
good
things
for
that
us. So it's
harm
like,
society. I know there are things that harm society in a subjective manner. I'm asking you, how do you know that God's morality is objective? In other words, beyond anybody's stances, beyond anybody's opinion, what God says is objectively true. It's a fact. How do you know that when it comes to God?
because if you like the things that are not moral, like most of those things will hurt somebody. So that just shows,
Okay.
even if it doesn't like hurt
Okay.
somebody, like,
How about when God says you shouldn't wear mixed fabrics in Leviticus? Do you think that's objectively good?
well, I mean, no.
Okay, great. Yeah, so there's an example of where God has a certain claim, but it's not clear as if it's good or not, right? I agree that it's intuitive that stealing and murder is wrong. I understand that. But the problem comes when you try to when we take a look at the Bibles, but is also when you try to appeal to some objective authority, objective morality. You don't know what God's morality is if it's from a Bible. You don't know if it's objective or not. That's what I'm asking you, right? How do you know God's morality is objectively good? How do you know that?
Well, because God's morality is morality is like the universal morality. So that would have to make it objectively good
Okay,
because of
is
the
it
other side.
so is God's morality beyond God or just what God says?
I mean, it's what God like put forth within his design of creation. I mean,
So morality
that's
comes from God. So whatever God says is good.
yes, but I mean, do you have anything to say about him saying
So
that his morality was bad? Like,
so if God said tomorrow that you go ahead and unalive these people because they're LGBT, would that be good to you?
well, g- God doesn't and hasn't done that. Like,
Oh, yes, he
You could
has.
say that about.
Literally Leviticus 20:13. Hello?
Like, yeah. So the Old Testament. Another a thing about the Old Testament too is like there were this was before the times of Jesus, and Jesus pretty much came to say like,
Oh, it's the old times. But I thought morality was objective. I thought it was the universal law. All of a sudden it matters now what book it's in?
well, so in the Old Testament, this was before people had like a personal idea of who God was, which is what we now know is Jesus.
Why does that
And
matter?
so
Why
there,
couldn't
so
God
there,
just say, hey, don't murder these people? Why couldn't God just give us
well,
a moral code that actually works and helps other people? Why does he give us a moral code where half of the first 5 commandments, the first 10 commandments, are about appeasing God and making sure that God's getting all this praise and glory, right? Don't worship other gods. Don't take my name in vain. God is a selfish, egotistical God to me. And it seems like instead of a morality where we're just following some magic guy's commands, let's have a morality where we're actually surveying what's actually happening in reality and considering the consequences to our actions in real time. That's a real moral system, not one where we're just blindly following some dictator who tells us what to do. That's not morality to me. And it seems like that's all you're appealing to here by saying God tells us this is good. You have no way of knowing why these are good or what good even means. You're just blindly following some magic fairy tale.
so anyway, so the Old Testament had rules that were in place because Jesus didn't come to show us how to live yet. But basically, in today's world, God isn't
Blah,
forcing.
blah,
God
blah,
isn't.
blah,
God,
blah,
so
blah,
no, no,
blah,
no.
blah, blah. Today's world. It doesn't matter if you believe in a timeless God it doesn't matter what time we're in. His morality remains true. That's what objectivity means. It seems like as if you don't know what it means. All right. I didn't want to kick him because I have nobody else in the guest request, but come on up, Mercedes, if you want to come up. I'll be nice today. Tap, tap, tap.
How's it going?
Great, what do you got?
Like, I'm Jewish, so you haven't disproven my God. So my God's Jewish, so you haven't disproven anything about that.
Well, I can easily disprove your God. I mean, does your God know the future?
No.
Then it's not omniscient.
What do you mean?
Your God doesn't know everything.
He doesn't know does that. So what?
So you believe in a God that can be tricked and fooled. You believe in a God who can be deceived.
Yeah, but that's anti-Semitic when you say that.
For you, troll.
No.
All right. Come up, guys. Please tap, 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 tap. Does this guy support Israel or Palestine? Yeah, good question. W host. Wow, thank you, Mercedes. Thank you. Everybody go follow my YouTube, by the way. My YouTube channel. I have all my lives there. I have all my stuff. Go subscribe, like, comment, and tap the screen. We get more people in here. Without God, we don't have morality. It would be subjective to what you or I deem as good. Yeah, that's how we literally operate. Morality seems to be very subjective. I mean, unless you can demonstrate that it's not, you know. But typically theists see a problem with morality, right? When it comes to secular morality, they think, oh, nothing's right or wrong. Well, who cares, right? there is a right and wrong on a level, right? We can subjectively deem things to be right or wrong. It doesn't matter if there's any fact about it. You don't need an absolute understanding of the world for you to operate within it. Right? So as long as we live in a society who holds to some standard that we, give ourselves, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you don't like it, you can leave the society, right? Like, there are people in Sentinel Island right now that are eating each other, right? Like, nobody cares because they're their own society, and we're not going to go there and touch them. They're on their own little island, right? Like, literally, that's their own place. But when it comes to us, we hold certain values, and if you disagree and you live in our place, in our land, then that's it. You're going to go bye-bye. It's very simple, very, very simple. You don't need God. But the reason why theists appeal to this argument is because morality feels so intrinsic. It feels so intuitive, right? It's the way we behave so commonly. So it gives the illusion as if morality is some kind of like objective thing in the world, right? Some fundamental aspect of reality. No, I think that's a mistake. All right, let's get some more victims in here. You also believe something was created from nothing, which violates all scientific laws. Nope, I don't believe that. Actually, you do. You literally believe everything comes from nothing, right? You believe that one day out of an eternity of time, your God was sitting there for an eternity and then got bored. And he said, you know what? Let me make some people. Yeah, let me make some people. Let me make a planet. He took his magic wand, he waved it around and said, whoa, poof, let there be light. And everything magically appeared in 6 days. We all magically appeared and spawned into existence in 6 days. That's what you believe, okay? Now, I understand that it's intuitive to look back and say, well, where's the beginning? What began? Where's the beginning of all this? That question might be the wrong question we're asking about reality in the first place, right? It might be asking like 2,000 years ago, our ancestors used to ask, what's at the edge of the earth? Right? That was a common question back then. What's at the edge of the earth? Now we know that's a bad question to ask. That's a wrong question, right? It just took us time to learn. So perhaps we're like the ancients. Maybe we're looking at the world going, where's the beginning? And there is no beginning. It's the wrong question to ask. And reality works in a vastly different aspect than we actually can understand or grasp. And that's amazing. That's amazing. When you learn more about the universe, the more mysterious it becomes. 6 days on Earth is 6,000 years in heaven. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. It is not 6,000. Nice try. There are trees older than 6,000 years old. All right. Can you prove evolution in a controlled environment? Yeah, absolutely. So in the 1990s, Richard Lenski, who is a biologist, took a species of bacteria called E. coli. He put them in a lab. He separated two populations under controlled conditions. And he found out that certain populations of E. coli bacteria were able to actually evolve to adapt to certain citrates. They could digest certain citrates better than others. And after enough generations, after about 20,000, 30,000 generations, a new species emerged. A new species of bacteria emerges, which can no longer reproduce with its original population. So this is a controlled environment, a lab setting where evolution has been proven. We can also prove evolution in our DNA. We actually have mapped out our genome to a good degree. We know the different mutations that have occurred in our past. We have chromosomal fusions that we can see. And when we compare and contrast with other apes and other species, we see that there's a matching. There's a very close matching. And this is direct evidence of common lineage. And there's no evidence of design. All right, guys, keep tapping. Let's get some more victims. Hey, Vanessa, how are you? You had bacteria stay alive after staining with getin and blue. Are we the most advanced beings to roam the earth? Well, I hope so. If there was somebody more advanced than us before us and they went extinct, that's a bad sign for us. But it seems to be, yes, based on the fossil record, that we are the most advanced species. But advanced is a very subjective term. I mean, there are many species out there like bonobos who have way better, more peaceful lives than we do. So it all depends on how you perceive what advanced means. But to me, I would say so. Do I believe in aliens? Well, when we live in a universe that is larger than 90 billion light years across, and there's more stars in the universe than grains of sand in all the beaches of the earth combined, I would say that the idea that there isn't aliens out there, that the idea that we're the only species in the world, is a bit arrogant. I think that there's perhaps plenty of aliens based on mathematics alone. But more importantly, we know how life emerged on the earth. It's through chemistry, a very intricate process called biochemistry. And it's amazing because we're actually finding the building blocks of life on Mars, in meteors, in space rocks out in space. And we're finding that some planets actually have the right conditions: liquid water, salt water, right? Radiation, all these things could allow us to emerge. Hence, I think life is very common out there. Hey, what do you got?
I know. I read the title. It says God is imaginary.
Yep.
Can you prove me wrong? Yeah, since you've made that claim, I'd like to know how you got to that conclusion.
Yeah, so when I say God's imaginary, I say it's the most likely case, right? It is most likely that it's imaginary based on the fact there's no evidence for it, based on the fact that almost every definition of God I've heard of makes logical contradictions or inconsistencies, and that many versions of God are inconsistent. That's all.
Okay, things. So the first thing that you said is that you don't make the affirmative stance that he doesn't exist, but rather it's reasonable that he's imaginary. That's the first thing you said.
Right. That's what, yes.
Right. But then the second thing you said is that there has been depictions of God in which there was logical contradictions. And by definition, if there's a logical contradiction, it wouldn't be that most likely he doesn't exist, but rather 100% certainty he doesn't exist because the laws of logic are true. So my question for you is, which is it? I'm sorry, I wasn't finished. My question is it that he most likely doesn't exist or that he for sure doesn't exist?
Well, when you say he, I don't know what that means, right? That's why I said I can't be absolutely certain about every possible God, right? There's many possible gods that can exist based on definitions. So I can't say that I know for sure that every God's not real. That's not my claim here. What I'm saying is that it seems to be that the normal, typical notion of gods seem to be something fabricated in their minds. Now, do you have any evidence for God?
Well, I'd like to address the claim that you've made. I respect it. I get it. I'd like to understand further. So you said God is imaginary. I don't want to strawman you. I'm trying to understand your position. Are you saying essentially that it's reasonable for him not to exist because there's no evidence of him? Is that what you're saying? Or is there something more to it?
There's no evidence, and that most definitions of God are inconsistent.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Mike, I have a question for you. I'm kind of confused. In what universe, like in what faculty of thought has it ever been acceptable to deem it to be reasonable of the non-existence of that which is not you, predicated upon the lacking of evidence? In what universe has this ever been incoherent in any respect? Like, how do you
Well, when
know?
you
How do
say
you
God
know
is,
that it's
well, it
reasonable?
depends. When I
How do
say
you
that
know
the
that it's
lack of
reasonable
evidence,
for God not to exist
hold
basing
on,
upon the
hold on.
lacking of evidence?
When I say the lack of evidence is evidence of absence, what I mean is under certain conditions and certain claims you're making about God, right? If you say God is everywhere, and then we look around and is nowhere to be found, that's evidence that you're lying, right? It's evidence that you're not telling the truth. It's evidence that it's not likely there. So with such certain claims, that notion is true.
Well,
Evidence of
not
absence is
necessarily. No, that's not true. See, if
true.
I say something, right, if I say God is real and I have no evidence of it, that's not, it doesn't mean that it's reasonable
How
that he
about
doesn't
this? How about
exist.
this?
Rather what it
No,
is that
how about
if I
this?
can finish my point, Mike, please.
No, no, no. Let me give you a
Mike,
good
please, if I
example.
can finish this, I'm trying to address you, right? Please. You said this. You said that if a guy says God exists without evidence, right, it's likely that God doesn't exist. That's fallacious.
No,
All it
I didn't
means,
say that. I didn't say that. What I
all it,
said was this. If you're God, if you say that your God is everywhere and we find him nowhere to be found, that's evidence against what you're saying. Now, here's an example.
sure, sure, but
Here's an
all that
example.
means,
Here's
all
an
that means is
example.
that
Moshi,
I have a
Moshi,
belief
hold
that's
on,
unjustified. It doesn't
hold
necessarily
on, hold
substantiate that
on, hold
it'd be
on,
reasonable for him not to exist.
hold on.
Do
I
you,
have
wait,
here's an
before
example.
you respond to me, can you tell me what I just said, just so I know that? Like, I don't want to talk past you. I want you to
Hold on,
understand what I'm saying.
Moshi, hold on. Here's an example. I have $1
Wait,
million in my hand right now. Do you think that's? Do you agree with that claim?
you have $1 million in your hand or on your hand?
Right here, it's in my hand.
No, I
Million
don't.
dollars in my hand.
No, there's none.
Great. Why? Because there's no evidence for it, right? There's no evidence for it.
No, that's not true.
Yes, there's no evidence that there's
No,
money in my hand.
you're
Hence, you
assuming.
don't believe the claim. The
No,
credence has been
that's
demolished.
not why. No,
That
that's
is
not
reason
why.
to not believe that there's
No,
$1 million. Just like there's a reason not to
that's
believe
not
that
why.
God's there when you claim
That's
he
not
is.
why. Okay, can I address you now, Mike, or are you done waffling? Okay, fantastic. So, Mike, I agree with you that you don't have $1 million in your hand. What I don't agree is your assumption of my reasoning as to why I said what I said. It's not that there's no evidence of it. No, rather, there is evidence that you don't have $1 million in your hand. See, evidence, a lacking of evidence, is not evidence in of itself to substantiate the existence of a thing
Well,
or
the
not.
money could be
So,
the money could
and the
be in.
reason why,
Hold on,
Mike, if
Moshi,
I can finish
Moshi.
my point,
No,
like,
no,
just relax, calm down.
Moshi. The money could be invisible.
Okay, well then, great. Then we can discuss this. No problem.
That's the point. That's the same.
Okay,
That's analogous to God. You're claiming God's invisible. And I'm saying, look, it's in my hand. It's in my hand. And I look in the hand, it's nowhere to be found. That's evidence that you're lying.
okay, fantastic. Can I finish my point?
Now stop this nonsense and give us evidence of your God.
Okay, can I address you or?
Yeah, go
'Cause
ahead.
okay, fantastic. So this is very disingenuous. I'll just break very simple. Point number one. Mike said, "Is there money in my hand?" I'm like, "No, obviously there isn't." And he's saying, "Okay, this is analogous with the idea of a deity." No, it's not, because when you say money, the colloquial understanding, the common understanding of money is that which is material. And then after I say, and then this is somehow your way of trying to prove that you can use a lacking of evidence to substantiate a claim. The irony is no. I didn't say that the money isn't there because of a lacking of evidence. Rather, I'm saying the money isn't there because there's evidence that it's not there. I'm looking at your hand and it's not there. So it's not the
Yeah.
lacking of evidence as to why
And
I said that it's not
yeah,
there. It's
if
because
you
of the
listen,
evidence
if you
of it
listen to
not
what I
being there.
just, oh
Now,
my gosh,
the second thing that you
Moshi,
said, Mike,
Moshi,
please, can I finish
Moshi.
my point? Can I finish my point?
No, no, no. Listen,
I'm not allowed
I
to talk.
gave you,
I'm not allowed to address you.
that's why I clarified and I
That
said,
it's invisible, right? Yeah, I'm gonna get there.
yes, it's
I'm gonna get there.
invisible.
I'm gonna get
And
there. You
that
gotta
is
let me
the
finish.
claim I'm making
Yes,
now.
I'm gonna get
It has
there.
no
I'm going to
evidence.
get there. That's I obviously know.
Listen, that's why I clarified to myself when I said the money's invisible. Because it's directly analogous to the God claim, right? You're saying God is everywhere, but it's invisible. It's the same thing with God, as the money, right? That's why lack of evidence of the money in my hand is good reason to say that
Thank you.
I'm probably not
Thank you
telling
for
the truth.
sharing, Mike.
Do you agree? Do you agree?
I disagree
Moshi, do
fundamentally,
you
and I'm trying to
agree?
tell you why I disagree fundamentally. So I was actually going to get to that, Mike, before you interrupted me. So humble yourself and listen before you speak, okay? After I've proven to you that the money wasn't there, not because of a lacking of evidence, but because there is evidence that it's not there. I'm looking at it, it's not there, right? You switched it to saying, no, the money is invisible. So now you've switched the idea of what money is. Apparently in your world, money is
I didn't
invisible.
switch it. I
No
made it more
problem. Yeah, you did.
clarified for
No,
the. I
No
made it
problem.
more
No problem.
analogous.
So now
I made
let's.
it
So
better
now
for
let's.
you.
Yeah, great. No problem. So now let's talk about your invisible money, your non-existent money. No problem. When
Okay.
you say your money is invisible, are you saying that it's immaterial?
Yeah, same thing, same claim.
Okay, problem. No problem. And this immaterial money, does it hold any value? Are you able to purchase things with it? I'm just trying to understand what you mean because clearly you have a different idea of what money means. Subhanallah.
Why does it matter? It's money that's invisible. There's no evidence for it, which is evidence of its absence.
No, my. Okay, you asked me a question. You
Great.
said, why is it important? Can I answer you?
Go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. The reason why it's important, okay, it's the same reason why earlier in the discussion you said, well, there's different understandings of God, right? And some are contradictory, and I don't see evidence for the other understandings of God. In our discussion, when you say money, unfortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about because you're saying money is invisible. So I'm trying to
Yeah,
ask you,
the
what do
same
you
with
mean when
God,
you say
right? So
money? And based off
you're saying the same thing with
the
God,
definition of
Moshi.
what you mean by money,
Moshi.
Mike, please let me finish, man.
No,
Let me
no,
finish, man.
no.
It is
Listen,
not the
listen,
same at
listen,
all.
listen.
When
Finish,
you
bro.
say
Just let
You're
him finish.
saying the same thing. You're saying the same thing with God. You're saying God is
why
everywhere,
are you
but no,
interrupting me?
but he's invisible.
Why are
He's
you?
immaterial. It's the
That is
same
not
claim
the
with
same
the
thing. Okay,
money.
well,
What's the
okay,
difference
perfect.
then?
So let me
What's the
ask you
difference?
that.
What's the
So
difference?
ex- thank you for you just asked me what's the difference, Mike. Can I answer you?
Yo,
Okay, fantastic. Unfortunately, because I'm not in your head, I don't know what you mean when you say money, which is why I asked you, what do you mean when you
so you
say
don't
money?
know the difference. So
I can
there
give
is
you
no
one difference right
difference.
now.
There is no difference.
I can give you
Because
one
you're
difference right now.
bro, what do you mean when you
Money
say
is not
money,
an
bro? This guy could
independent
mean three.
necessary. Yeah. Money is not an independent
Well, we
necessary
don't know.
being.
We don't know Qtop.
That's
We
not
don't
the
know what he
claim I
means when he says
made.
money.
That's
Well,
irrelevant,
Mike,
right?
what do you mean when you say Mike? What are you talking about when you say money?
I'm saying that there's something invisible that we think is money in my hand.
Okay, great. And does it
That's
need
it.
anything? Does it need anything?
It doesn't matter if it needs anything. The point, the
Okay, then
claims are
then then
analogous
I
to
know for
God.
certainty that there's a difference. Now I know with certainty that there's a
What
difference.
is it? No. What's the difference between those two claims about the money and the claims about God? The specific claims about God, not all claims about God. Those
Yeah,
two
it's
specific ones.
they're very,
That the
very
money
different.
is
Very,
immaterial. That the money is immaterial, and not and invisible. And God,
okay,
those
perfect.
same things
Yeah,
apply to
yeah,
God.
yeah. So the difference is very simple. Okay, when you ask me now, how do you know that God exists? I can substantiate his existence through a deductive argument. But if I ask you right now, Mike, how do you know that the money, that invisible, that you claim is there, how do you know it's there? It's going to be predicated upon faith. So, and it's not dependent upon, like,
Right.
your
Exactly.
whole idea
That's
is
why
whack.
it's
So I'm going
directly
to ask you now,
analogous with
how
God.
do you know? How do you know it's there? How do you know it's there?
That's the point. You don't know it's there, right? That's
Okay,
why.
so are you saying, okay,
That's
perfect. So that's the
why.
difference. That's the
That's why
difference.
when you say
Yeah,
God is all
there's no
around me,
preconditions of this thing's existence. Like we actually have preconditions of God's existence. Like
where are
you're
they?
making up some. What are the preconditions? Well,
Yeah.
how about the uniformity of nature? How about the intelligibility of the universe? How about the ability that we have to literally reproduce the same thing and get the same result? Right.
Yeah.
This is
Why
predicated
can we ground
what
those things in nature?
because
Okay,
that's
perfect. So
illogical.
what, wait,
Because
great, fantastic. So what
because
do you
that
mean by nature?
Yeah, no. He doesn't understand that like you can't ground that in nature because you're gonna need some mind. You're gonna need
Why? Why?
you're gonna
Why?
need some uniformity, right? You're
Why?
asking why
Why?
because these things do not come about by chaos and randomness, right? So what you gotta
What does it?
understand,
What does it?
intelligibility, the fact that
Oh,
we
sure it
have a
does.
universe that is designed, it is ordered, it is structured. That doesn't
Okay,
come about by chaos,
stop
randomness,
begging
and
the
chance.
question. Okay, stop begging the question and
It's not
recognize that.
begging the question. I've already substantiated.
Okay, great. So then show me why you need a mind for things like intelligibility, because intelligibility, as far as I'm concerned, is emergent of brains which evolved out of chaos. And we know that chaos can
So that's not what I mean by intelligibility.
hold on. We know that order can emerge from chaos due to things like gravity and the laws of nature, the fundamental forces. These things allow order from chaos.
Yeah, so that's not
What?
what I mean when I say intelligibility. Yeah, that's just definitely not what I mean when I say intelligibility.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay,
when you
Mike,
say intelligibility,
do you
you
have
mean the
awareness,
laws
Mike?
of logic,
Wait,
right? You
Mike,
mean
Mike,
logic,
one
and
sec.
this is
Mike,
coming from a mind that
okay,
comes from the
great.
brain.
Mike, you have a nice theory. You're saying, what if it's all grounded in nature, right? Is this not your theory?
It's not a theory; it's a plausibility.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So, plausibility, no problem. Since when you said money, you said it's invisible. I need to understand, what do you mean by nature?
The essence of something, right? Its fundamental features or properties.
The essence of something. That's what you mean by nature.
Its fundamental properties.
You do know that essence and the common understanding is the whatness of a thing, and it holds
Right.
no actual existence in itself. It's actually immaterial. So do you believe in immaterial realities now?
No, it's not immaterial,
So
right?
then what
It's
do
a
you mean by
descriptor.
essence?
So,
what do you
so
mean
when
by
we say
essence?
when we say essence, it's a descriptor for something, right? It's describing its
Exactly,
property.
a description of a thing, right? The description of a chair, does it hold any ontological reality?
Yeah, he's
Is
asking
it
you what
material?
grounds
The
this thing.
description itself.
Yeah, the description itself,
Yeah.
is it
So the
material or
description
immaterial?
itself. Right. So the description itself is a thought process, and thoughts are
Is it
physical.
material or immaterial?
It's material. Thoughts are material.
So one sec.
Well, that's what I asked him before. He's going right back to the same. This is like it's like a three.
So Mike,
Why are you laughing? This is a fact of reality.
this is called a circular argument, and
How
here's
is it
why.
circular? How's
Yeah.
it circular?
Great question. Humble yourself and listen. Here's why it's circular. We're asking you these material phenomena, knowledge, all these things, like what grounds it? And you're saying nature. I'm like, well, what's nature? Well, the essence of a thing. Well, what's that? The descriptions of the
We can
material.
call it a quantum state, for example, that describes
You
everything.
just changed it. You just changed it. It's okay, no problem. So
No,
so
the
essentially
point
what
is
you're
that
saying
it's
is
still
the material world.
still
So
the
one
nature
second.
of something,
So
right?
the material
Hold on.
world. So the
Hold
material
on.
world is grounded by material thoughts. Is this logic?
Yeah. Material, no, not nature is grounded by thoughts. The thoughts.
So the
are
material
Hold
world is
on,
grounded by
Moshi.
material thoughts.
I know you guys are laughing. Thoughts are merely descriptors for reality. The ontology of the universe, the absolute ontology of the universe is unknown, right? We don't know the absolute ontology.
So why
of
do you claim to know that God doesn't exist in it if it's unknown?
Because what I can say though is I can describe.
So why
reality.
do you
And
claim
why
that
do you
God
Hold
doesn't
on,
exist
and why
if
do you
hold on,
claim
it's
that
unknown?
these preconditions are held within something that you don't even know?
Hold on.
Like you don't
Yeah,
even have
you
a
just said you
basis of-
don't know. Why are you?
Yeah, you don't even have a basis of grounding your claim.
No,
Like
you
you
guys,
speak from a
you
lack
guys
of
are,
knowledge.
you guys are not letting me
He's
speak.
stressing. He's stressing. Look, he's stressing.
Listen. We can describe the universe's workings under the foundation of a quantum state or a natural quantum state, right? That's the point. I use my mind and my thoughts to describe the nature of reality. It doesn't mean that I know everything about reality.
Yeah, but the question is nature of reality dependent upon the description? I'm asking you, is the nature of reality, is it dependent upon this material thoughts?
No.
Okay, so we asked you a simple question. The nature itself, what grounds it? If it's not grounded by material thoughts, then what grounds it?
It's necessary.
Yeah, I appreciate your passion and enthusiasm. I never asked, is it necessary? I asked you what grounds it.
Well, that's the answer because that's like asking what grounds God, right?
What grounds it? What grounds it? If it's
That's like asking what grounds God, right? It's just necessary.
Sense exactly. So now you're saying that something exists. You want to call it nature. Someone might call it God.
Exactly.
Some people might call it Allah.
What's wrong with
no
calling
problem?
it
One sec.
nature?
Let me finish.
What's wrong with saying
you
there's
believe
a natural necessity?
There's nothing wrong with that. If you can let me finish, Mike, I'm going to agree with you.
Great. So then you can
If you
see
can
that
let me finish, Habibi, let me finish. We will get to the conclusion. Right? Calm down.
You ain't ready for me, Mike, because I'm just waiting, bro.
Yeah, Qtop is gonna slaughter this.
I'm ready to ask you a couple questions, bro.
Okay, let me just finish this off. So here's what we concluded here today, ladies and gentlemen. It's very simple. Mike, do not interrupt me. If you interrupt me, it's just proof that you're just miskeen. The guy said that the material world is dependent upon nature. He doesn't want to say Allah, but he says nature. No problem. I asked him, what's nature? And then he says, well, it's something that's independent, necessary, something that everything depends upon, is the source of knowledge, source of consciousness. So you don't want to call it God, but
it's a quantum state. It could be a quantum state.
And the irony, actually, the irony in what you're saying is this. It's very simple. Obviously, you've never read the literature,
Moshi,
so I'm just going to help
hold
you.
on, Moshi.
One sec. Stop interrupting me. I'm going to help you out. I know for a fact you've never read Spinoza.
No. Listen. Why can't there be a quantum state that
Let me
has
finish
the properties that you're asking for, except for the mind?
It doesn't matter. There's nothing you will say.
Except for the Allah properties, right? That's the point.
You just destroyed yourself,
right? Moshi, listen. Moshi,
your argument's finished.
No, you didn't. You're not understanding what I just told you. Why does the property of the necessary reality have to be Allah?
Yeah, no problem. I will address you. Let me finish.
Go.
Okay.
Demonstrate that.
Yeah, no problem. I will demonstrate it. Don't worry. So the conclusion is essentially this. This is your conclusion, okay? Everything is dependent upon this thing called nature that's necessary and independent, right? Which wasn't your view, by the way, a couple of weeks ago, but no problem. The funny thing is I know that you haven't read the literature, so I'll help you out. Spinoza actually believed in God, right? And Spinoza's understanding of God is literally what you're describing. So earlier in the discussion, you said that I don't agree with any understanding of God, any depiction of God. Here I am giving it to you.
Moshi,
You actually
you're not
agree
listening.
with
You're not answering
Spinoza's
my question,
understanding of
Moshi.
God.
You're not
So
going to
now
sit
my
here and
question
ramble.
is this.
No,
One sec. So
you're not going to sit here and ramble, right? I asked you a specific question, right? Why can't the necessary properties of the universe be in a quantum state?
Hey,
Why can't we start with a quantum state and everything else emerge from that quantum state? Why do we need Allah? Why do we need a mind?
Quantum
Why do we
states
need
are
Muhammad?
dependent. Quantum states are
Why
dependent.
do we need a theistic
They're
God? Why?
dependent.
Why?
They're dependent, and you need something that can act freely. You need a free
buddy,
agent, and those
Why?
just
quantum
listen.
states
Why?
are
Okay,
dependent
Why?
Mike, listen carefully.
Why?
because it
I
will be
will answer
limited
you.
to inputs and outputs. It will be limited. It will be limited to the necessary conditions to produce an output, right? It be if that would literally mean that the universe is eternal because there's no necessary conditions.
Yeah, the universe can be
Yeah.
determined in
Okay.
No,
No,
you
the
just.
universe. There's many philosophical arguments of why the universe is not eternal, right? But that's
But
just my
we
own
don't even
like.
need to get there. We don't even
Yeah,
need to get
yeah.
there. You know why, Mike? Can you read? Read the title of your live. God is imaginary. Can you prove me wrong?
Yeah,
I
go
have
ahead.
given
Show me that
you.
God exists.
Yes. I don't need to show you. You just showed yourself. What you call nature is Spinoza's understanding of God,
No,
which
that's not
means you agree with
Spinoza's.
Spinoza's understanding of God.
That's
Do you
wrong.
not have
Spinoza.
you read Spinoza or no?
No.
Have you read
Listen, a
Spinoza?
quantum state is not Spinoza's God. It's not a God.
One sec. A quantum
It's a
state, is
natural
that
entity
dependent?
with no mind. It has no mind, no personality.
You're
It's
now
not.
deflecting it. You're now deflecting, and I'll prove it. Ready? Watch this. Quantum state, is that dependent upon nature?
It is nature. It's the same thing.
Oh, so quantum state's identical to nature?
Yeah, that's literally what it
Okay.
is.
Yeah, no problem. And this thing is whatever you mean by that, it's independent, necessary, and it's immaterial.
No, it's not immaterial. It's material.
I
Everything's
thought you
material.
said. Well, I thought you said it's independent.
Yeah, that's why it's not Spinoza's God.
Wait, one sec. Is it independent or not?
How in the world is it independent?
Yeah, it's
Like that's
independent. There's no.
So let me get this straight. It's
eternal infinite.
independent, but it's dependent upon space-time.
It's
yeah.
not
That's
dependent
what
on space-time.
how in the world.
Space-time emerges from quantum states. It's again the quantum
What?
state is the most fundamental necessary entity.
So does it take up space or no?
It exists in a space-time. Yes.
Yeah, it exists
Exactly.
within
That means-
space-time, so it's confined within space.
Yeah,
No, the space-time is eternal though. It's infinite.
bro. This dude.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Space-time can be infinite.
does
That
matter.
doesn't change
Bro,
anything.
it's still
There's
dependent
nothing more
upon
fundamental.
space-time.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
so
more.
if-
There's
if-
nothing
Not,
more.
Mike,
look,
bro,
hold
you
on.
literally don't
Hold
even
on.
understand.
Hold on. The point
Mike,
is
if
this.
it's wait, one
Bro.
sec, Mike. Even if the universe is eternal, all that proves is that the
Mike,
quantum state is
Mike.
eternally depending upon.
This is crazy.
Guys, relax. Okay.
But
I
no,
just
no, no.
told you that this fundamental space-time can be infinite, such that there's nothing beyond it.
Is it dependent or not?
No, it's independent, it's infinite and eternal. There's
Okay,
no
Okay, so
but
wait,
if
so
we-
what, so now you're saying space-time is also independent. Like you can't
Quantum
have like that's a
states-
contradiction. You can't have
Quantum
both.
states conceptually inhabit
Like-
space-time, which itself is eternal. They make up space-time. That's the point.
But that all that proves is that quantum states, something that you say is independent, eternally depends upon space-time. That's all you've proven to you.
No,
So you believe in
it
logical
doesn't depend
contradiction.
on space-time. It is
You
space-time.
literally that's it,
Okay,
now it is
oh.
space-time. Wait.
Yes.
wait, hold on.
It is. It's what makes it up.
Wait, bro, this
Hold
thing is
You guys are laughing,
nature,
but
bro,
these
I
quantum
have
states
never
are
seen
what
sorry,
makes
sorry,
up
one sec,
everything.
one sec. So at first he said nature is by itself, and then he said nature is identical to quantum state, and now he said quantum state, and then he said quantum state is dependent upon, or no, then he said space time is dependent upon quantum
You're
state,
strawmanning.
and now
You're
he's saying
strawmanning.
quantum state is
Guys, you're
identical to space
strawmanning.
time.
bro, this is crazy.
You're strawmanning,
That's
right? I never
crazy.
said that it's dependent. I'm saying that this space-time is the most fundamental feature of reality, and there's nothing beyond it. And this space-time, these quantum states make up space-time, and they're equivalent to each
Is
other.
space time an emergent property from the quantum state? Yes or no?
Yes. And
Okay,
in that sense,
if it's
it
an
is
emergent
necessary.
property, how can it be identical to itself?
Because there's other space-times beyond it. That's the point.
Wait, what? No, no way. There's no way. Moshi, there's no way. Bro, this is getting crazy. Wait.
Oh,
Wait,
there's
wait.
other,
We have
there's
a
other
space
space
time
times
that's
with
This
it.
is
emergent.
this is your
We
There's
have
other
a
best
space
space
atheist.
time
times
that's
embodied with
emergent
it.
and a space time that's before
And it's
the
identical to
quantum
the
state.
quantum
Yeah,
state.
like that's identical to the. Bro, this doesn't. Oh my
No,
gosh,
Is
Mike.
this
yeah,
is
my
this
guys.
your
Break it
black
down,
belt
bro.
Listen,
atheist?
listen. Let me make it
TikTok,
more
is
clear
this
for you
the
guys.
atheist that you guys are
Hold on,
tagging me in?
guys.
This is
Oh,
the
this is
best you
bad,
have?
Stop.
bro.
Let me
This is
make it more
Is
simple
this
bad.
for
the
you.
best atheist you have on TikTok?
Stop.
Yeah,
Let me
If
make
man.
it
this
more
is what
simple
it
for you.
means to be an atheist, I would be
Now
embarrassed to
I've
call
been
myself
wanting
an
to debate
atheist.
Mike, and I'm so happy, Moshi. Like, bro, this is because man.
Okay, guys, please listen. Quantum states
Is it
exist.
identical to space-time or no?
Hold on. They exist within
Is
this
it
space
identical to
time.
space-time or no?
Yes, they make up space time. That's the point, right? They exist, the most fundamental thing of nature. That's the point. And from this, other space times emerge. But they embody, these quantum states embody all other space times.
Yeah, so
Such that
is it
they
a
are one
constituent in space-time? Is that what you're saying?
hold on. Such that they are one entity. That's it. There's only one entity called nature. And there's nothing beyond it.
Okay,
And that's
I
literally
have a
what
question.
quantum states
I'm
are.
truly trying to understand your position, bro. Honestly, because so
Yeah,
you're
because
saying,
you.
yeah. Sorry, Qtop. Yeah, go ahead. I don't know.
Yeah. So what Moshi's asking is this space time a constituent I can't say the word, a constituent of the quantum state?
Yeah, because you said that the
'Cause
quantum state makes up space-time, right?
quantum states make up space times, yes.
Okay,
So
if
wait, so
quantum
is it
state,
identical? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. This is
like,
not making sense.
Yeah, they're the same things.
Okay, so that
so
means it's not emergent then. Like, why are you
yeah,
saying that it's emergent if it's
in order for something to be
So
an emergent, it's
again,
distinct
so
because
you guys,
that which
if
is
you
emerged would be the
understand,
effect of the
yeah. So
property.
hold on. So if you
Like,
understand quantum mechanics, you realize that things exist in superposition, and what that means is that all states exist simultaneously. And in this sense, there's only one quantum state that holds a superposition of all possible worlds, right? All
that has
space
nothing to
times.
do with the
And that
question. That
it
has
does.
nothing to do with the
It does
question.
because there's
No, it
only one
doesn't.
entity, and that's where everything comes from. That's the point.
Okay, Mike. So there's something called nature, right? Now, is nature made up of anything? Yes or no?
Nature is made up of a quantum state.
Okay, I'm going to rephrase the question. Is it made up of anything that's non-identical to itself?
Nope.
Okay, so essentially what you're saying is nature is made up of nature.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, perfect.
We are
So
nature.
nature has no parts.
Exactly. There's no parts to a quantum state.
Okay, great. So nature, so let's just stop using the word quantum state. Now let's just say nature. So you believe something called nature. It has no parts. It's independent. It needs nothing. Does
Right.
it take up
wow.
space?
Wow.
Does it take up space?
It makes space.
It makes
It
space,
makes
right? So
up.
space.
It makes
Okay,
up
great.
space time. It makes up space time, and it's
Great.
not a mind, and there's no mind to it. And
Yeah,
there's
no
Took out the
problem.
bro,
there's
he
no
literally just
agency
like
to it.
built like all like bro, he built like
Yeah,
the
no problem. By the
fundamental
way,
building blocks like of God, and they just
Yeah,
took out the
this
mind
is the
part.
point. This
no,
is the
no, no.
entire point.
He's
Like,
no, no.
This is
The
the
irony is
guys.
he's actually proven.
Listen. This
He's
is the
actually
entire
proven that he
point.
has a mind.
I
Bro.
bro,
can
this
I
dude
can
is a
come up,
thief.
guys.
He
Listen.
stole the it like he literally stole the
No, guys. Listen. This is the point. I can come up with an idea scientifically that
No,
holds
you've
all the
actually proven
properties,
that God has a
that
mind. You've
has
actually
all the
proven.
properties that you want, minus the properties that you give God.
No,
That's
no.
the point.
You've
We
bro.
can
proven. You
appeal
have
to
proven here
nature.
today.
We can
You
say
have
that
proven here today that
nature
God has a mind. You've proven
grounds
it.
everything in the world, and you don't
Listen
need
to what I
God
just
for it.
said. You have proven that God has a mind. You did, not me.
Oh, really? Then how did I prove that God has a mind?
Yeah, good question. Pay attention and don't interrupt me, okay? This thing that everything depends upon, right? I have a question for you, Mike. Do you have a mind?
Yes, and mine is emergent. It's not a
Okay,
fundamental feature.
exactly.
It's
It's an
emergent.
emergent. Exactly. Pay attention.
Uh-oh.
Not. Do you have knowledge?
Yeah, knowledge
Do
is
you have
emergent
awareness?
of
Wait.
the.
Okay. Do you have awareness?
Yep, consciousness is emergent of the of the.
Perfect. Okay. So you believe that this ultimate cause, the ultimate cause of everything, right? It is even the cause of knowledge and it's the cause of awareness. So now you are in a dilemma. You're going to have to sit here and say the ultimate cause of awareness lacks awareness and the ultimate cause of knowledge lacks
Yeah,
knowledge.
because there's something called
Essentially,
emergence. You know what
essentially you're
emergent
saying
property
this.
is?
One sec. Essentially you're saying this. It bestowed upon to another. It gave knowledge to another, but it lacked knowledge. It gave power, it gave awareness, but it lacks awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because these things don't require mind.
Simply put, the
So
parameters of the cause have to be outside of the parameters of the effect. So like
no, they
whatever
don't.
produced
They
the
don't.
whatever
Yeah.
produced, yes,
So
they do.
guys,
It
listen,
has
listen.
to
Yeah,
have
exactly.
necessary
Any
preconditions
Guys,
to produce the
listen.
effect.
Guys, listen.
It literally
any
does. Like this is
perfection
So,
within the effect has to
guys,
be bestowed and contained
hello?
within the
Are you
cause.
guys listening?
exactly.
Okay, listen. So
Like we
my
cannot
mind,
possess knowledge and our cause lacks knowledge.
guys. So
It's like me
consciousness.
giving Qtop a present, but I don't have a present to give.
So consciousness
Should I
is
give him a
emergent. So consciousness is emergent of particles, right? That's the point.
Me trying to fix
That
my
the
but I
mind
don't
does
have
not have
clippers.
to.
I don't have
The
clippers,
mind
bro. So
isn't
like I can't do it.
fundamental, right? The mind could be emergent. Just like God, just
Okay,
like
one
you're
sec.
not the same as God, right? We would be emergent from God in your view.
Okay, so
Same
what are
with
these
consciousness.
necessary conditions to produce the emergent property of the mind? Like how does this just like emerge?
Oh,
Like
it's called particles. It's called a bioelectricity.
okay, it's called particles. It's called bioelectricity. Okay.
Oh my gosh,
Can you
materialism.
explain
Yeah,
it like a little bit deeper? Like how does that just emerge?
It's called
This is
What is
such
the
an
it's
the most
what is the
basically
mechanism? What
here.
is
Like I'll give you an example. Like life, right? Life is an emergent of non-life. Like non-living
it's
things
not
are.
though. It's not though,
It
bro.
is.
Like that's not proven.
So if
That's
this is
never
the
been
only
proven,
so
bro.
if this is
That's
the only
a bio.
counter you guys have, it's a bad one, right? Because we know that life comes from non-life. This is a
We
fact of
don't know
reality.
that. That's not a
Yes, we
fact,
do.
bro. That's
Yes, we
not
do.
a fact, but that's a theory. That's not
No,
a
it's
fact.
it is a fact.
Wait,
Because
one
you're
sec.
made of.
Mike,
Here, let me
one
explain
sec,
this.
Wait, Mike,
You
one
guys,
sec. You
you're
just said
made of.
life.
You
One
are
sec,
made
Mike.
of non.
You just said life comes from non.
Yes, you were
Wait,
made of non-living things. You're made
Mike,
of
you just said
everything
life.
about.
Yes, Mike. You're saying life comes from non-life, right?
Yes.
You
Okay.
can't
Like, did
justify
you
the
come from?
position.
Wait, one sec. Did you come from your mother? Or?
Yes.
Does your mom exist?
But
Okay.
the point I was
Was your mom
making.
not living when she gave life to you? Was she not
No, the
living?
point is that I am made, right? The reason why I'm still alive
Wait, but
today is not
was your
because I
mom
came
not
from a
living when
mother.
she gave birth to you? I don't understand.
Stop. Listen, Moshe.
You just said life comes from non-life.
That's disanalogous,
Are you
right?
saying that you came from
Oh
something
my
that
gosh.
rock?
Oh my gosh. Listen. I know you guys want the W, but you're not going to get it because
bro.
life
You make no sense,
is
man.
made
Your
up of
position is
non-living
atheist.
things.
I am gonna
DNA,
grade you.
right?
Mike Burgandy's position is
Moshi, please. So DNA is not alive, right? DNA is a molecule. It's not living. But what makes it alive is when it interacts with other molecules. And this interaction, this collective interaction, makes it become alive. It's an emergent process.
Yeah.
And that's
So
what life is. That's why life comes from non-life. Not that I come from a mother. That's irrelevant
So
because I'm
are
still
rocks
alive
alive?
today.
yeah.
Are rocks alive?
So Mike, you simply put, brother, like you still haven't demonstrated how non-life can produce life. All you've demonstrated is that DNA is the fundamental building block of matter, right? And so like that's just something that we already know. So like I just want you to
Yeah,
demonstrate.
it's like you didn't listen, right?
Show
So
me,
if you listen,
show me any scientific peer-reviewed article where we've proven that non-life can produce life. Show me that.
yeah, sure. We've done studies on this and
Don't
experiments.
tell me
It's called
abiogenesis.
abiogenesis.
Don't
Yes.
tell, bro. That's a theory, bro. That's a
It's
theory. We have
you
not.
know
That
what a
has not
science.
been. That has not
Yeah.
been
So
proven.
a scientific theory actually has evidence behind it, and there's
Yes,
evidence.
but it's
study.
not a fact. A scientific theory will never become a fact. I
There
know
are
what a scientific
facts.
theory is.
There are facts behind abiogenesis.
There's facts with it. Yes, a scientific theory is comprised of facts, but the theory itself will never become a fact because it cannot be reproduced. Science
doesn't
has to be
matter.
reproduced for us to
See,
accept it as a
theory.
fact. We can't accept that as a
So let
fact.
me educate you on this then. A scientific theory is an explanation. Of course, it's not a fact. It's not equivalent to a fact. It's an explanation for the facts, and the fact remains that life comes from non-life. That is something we observe, right? We do experiments on this.
No, that's because you're starting with the presupposition that God doesn't exist. Because if you start with the
That's
presupposition
irrelevant.
that
God's
God,
irrelevant. God's
bro,
irrelevant,
you
right? I'm
need
talking about
God's
science.
existence to even do science, bro. So now you're just looking stupid because you're literally
Wait, what? I
assuming the
need.
intelligibility of the universe, bro. So don't even talk to me about science.
Yeah,
Bro, I'm
we
gonna give it
have
to you
the
like this, brother.
intelligibility from our minds, right?
Yo, why is it like
Bro,
the quote unquote atheist scientists of today use science to try to disprove God, but it's the creators of science that
Nobody's
believe in God? I
disproving
don't
God.
understand this.
literally, no, literally, and
Nobody's trying to disprove
and they
God.
assume. You
Like,
literally have to assume the uniformity of nature and the intelligibility of the universe to do science. You have to
exactly,
assume that
patterns.
we
Yeah,
can
and
we
those
can
and those
reproduce
properties
the
we can
same.
ground in nature itself, right? There could be a
Bro, you
natural
keep saying
phenomenon of
nature, then we
nature that
press you on
allows.
nature, and you keep saying the same thing over and over again, bro. You keep saying a quantum state. You can't
Yeah,
justify your quantum state.
you keep
It's
saying God as if that does anything else.
bro.
Or
I
no?
keep saying God because that actually makes sense.
Okay,
It's
great.
an
How
independent and
does
necessary being
so?
for
What's the
existence, bro. It's a
contradiction?
mind.
So, Qtop,
It's
let
a
me ask you this then: What is the What is the logical contradiction in the universe that is
the
grounded in nature itself? Where's the contradiction there?
it's dependent. It's not
No, it's
independent.
not.
What is nature? What
It's
is nature?
independent.
How is it independent?
There's nothing beyond it.
How? It's bounded by space. Quantum
No,
states
it's
are still
not.
within space.
It's not bounded by
Quantum states are
space.
still
It
within
makes up
space time.
space. It literally makes up space.
How? How is that possible?
What do you mean? How is it possible? Things can make up space, right? It's on a quantum level. It's literally called string theory.
Is there material within this quantum state?
It is. There's nothing
Yes
within
or
it.
no?
It is made. It is material itself. There's nothing within it. It's
Exactly.
the
So
most
if it's
fundamental.
material and it's
It is
not
the most
immaterial, that means it's
fundamental building
dependent.
block of
That
reality.
literally means it's dependent.
No, it's not.
Brother.
It depends on nothing. It depends
You
on
are
nothing.
not going to get these necessary preconditions of a universe with a quantum state that is literally dependent and does not contain these properties. We literally
Why
have
not?
knowledge,
Why
as
not?
Moshi said.
Why
We
not?
have knowledge. We are relational beings, right? We have consciousness, right? We have the ability to engage and think through logical processes. You do not get this from some unintelligible, chaotic quantum
Sure we
state, brother.
do.
You do
Sure we
not
do.
get uniformity
Okay, great.
and
So
design for this quantum
let me
state,
ask
brother.
you
You're
this
not
then.
justifying your weak position, bro. This is stupid.
So Qtop, you're saying that intelligence only comes from intelligence?
Yes.
Is God intelligent?
Yes.
Okay, then who made God intelligent? What intelligence made God?
Yeah, so that's a dumb question.
Why?
That's
Can
a
you
dumb
answer
that's a dumb question
it?
because
Like
that's a
this is the
dumb
point. This is the point. You don't need something beyond it.
that's a dumb no. It's a dumb question because God is the first being. So
Okay, great.
obviously
Then
nothing
we
came
can say
before
the
God.
quantum state's the
God's
first
not
being. We can say quantum state's the first being.
it can't be the first being if it's
Why not?
dependent.
Why not?
It's
yeah,
literally
so,
dependent upon space time. We literally
yeah,
explained
No, it
this
is
to you.
not. No, it is
wait,
not.
Mike,
This is
Mike.
what makes up
Is
space time.
space time an emergent property or not?
There are things that emerge from this fundamental quantum state, like space times, right? But it also itself makes up space
But I
time.
thought you said it's identical to quantum state. Now you're saying it's emerging from it?
Yeah.
And then he's saying it's
So
constituent. He doesn't know what he's saying, bro.
Wait,
He's
Mike, I,
keeping.
I,
no,
I actually, bro,
it's
look,
not
I don't
that.
want to,
You guys
I
don't.
don't
You
want to
guys
argue,
don't
bro. I actually want
understand.
to understand your position so I can like find holes in it. So what are you actually saying right now?
Yeah. What I'm saying is this, right? Quantum states make up everything in existence, the most fundamental entities of existence. And from this, everything else emerges. Now, in quantum mechanics, we have a quantum superposition, which means all possible states, all quantum systems exist in this one eternal, unchanging quantum state, right? We can consider it one entity because it holds everything else. That's the point. We can consider this one entity. Do you understand now?
Okay, so
It's material, right?
It's material. It is material. There's no mind. It's not God.
Right.
It's not
So,
it
God.
Mike,
can't be material.
unfortunately, okay, Mike, look,
Gosh, this is what I'm
wait,
trying to explain.
Mike, look, bro, bro, look, Mike, please, bro, try to pay attention.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be condescending, but like, just respect yourself for a sec, okay? Like, don't disrespect yourself, please. Okay. Listen to what you're saying. You're saying quantum state is independent and needs nothing. The problem is the moment you say it's material, right? That means it is restricted. It's confined within space-time. And if it's confined within space-time, it's dependent upon space-time. The proof for this is very simple. If you posit the non-existence of its confinements, you have yielded the non-existence of the state that it's confined in.
That's a straw man.
In other words, you're
I never
saying...
said it depends on space time. I said it makes up space time.
I know you didn't say that. I'm showing you the logical entailment of saying it's material.
I never made
If
that
something's
argument. I never made that argument. though. So
I'm
you're
not. I know you're
You
not.
just
I'm
said it was
explaining to
material,
you.
so he's extrapolating out what you said. If something is
I'm
material, it is bounded by space time. That's the logical conclusion of what you're saying, Mike. That's what we keep
anything
bringing to
that's
your attention.
material is
no,
dependent upon space
that's
time.
false. You guys don't understand science then, because we know that like things like
What are you talking about?
quantum states can make up space time
What?
itself, right? Space time can emerge from
So
quantum.
wait, are you gonna make the claim here today
Oh.
that space time is made up of quantum states?
Yeah, this is literally string theory.
Okay. Oh my God.
This
Bro,
is
you're
What? Wait,
like,
what? Why is it invalid?
yeah, the reason why it's invalid, Mike, is this, okay? If something's material, it now takes up space, okay? That
No,
means
I
it
just
depends
explained
upon
this.
that
I
means
just
it
explained
depends
this to
upon
you.
space.
No, no. They make up space. Like, why is this so hard for you to grasp, right? They make
See,
up space.
if you say they make up space, I have to ask you now the next question. When you say they make up space, is they identical to space or not?
No.
They are not identical. So before you said it was identical, now you're saying quantum states are not identical. So which one is it? Is quantum states identical to space or not identical to space?
doesn't know.
They
He
make
doesn't
up
know.
they make up space. They make up space.
He doesn't know.
Okay,
So
thank
pretty much Moshi, look, here's what we have. We have these uncaused quantum states. So these just random, they're just uncaused. They're just random quantum states that just somehow exist. Then we have these emergent properties from these quantum states, space-time, which makes absolutely no sense. Then from these emergent properties, we have intelligibility, we somehow have knowledge, we somehow have consciousness that's
Yeah,
from all
there's
these.
a
Like it just
process,
doesn't
right?
make, and on top of that, we have order and design from this random
How
quantum
do you know
state.
it? How do you know it's
It makes
designed?
no sense, bro.
How do you know it's designed?
Makes no sense. Makes no sense, bro.
How do you know it's designed?
How do you know it's a quantum state? That's
Well,
my question.
we have
That's my
evidence
question.
we have evidence of quantum fields. We have no evidence of a design.
No,
We
I
do
have
have
no
evidence of a
issues with
design.
quantum state, Mike. I have no issues with this, bro. I
Okay,
actually,
good. So
I'm
what's
a
the
big
issue?
fan, bro. I'm a big fan of the stuff, by the way. Like, especially like quantum entanglement, for example. Like, that's dope. I like that shit. You know, I'm not denying this, but I'm confused by what you're saying. Are
Where?
you
Where's the
saying?
confusion?
Okay, bro. I'm actually genuinely confused now, bro. I'm just trying to understand right now. Okay,
Okay.
is quantum state, whatever that means, is it identical to space time or not?
No, it makes up space time.
Okay, I appreciate the honesty, bro. Okay. If it makes up space-time, right? That means space-time is made up of things. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to bring in the word nature. Since you use that word, nature, would it be identical to quantum state or would it be identical to space-time?
Nature is identical to quantum state.
Okay, this is a contradiction. Unfortunately, here's why, okay? Is nature dependent or independent?
Independent.
Okay. Perfect. Space-time is made up of nature. That means, right?
Space-time is contained within nature. Yes, everything
Bro,
is
he keeps
embodied within
moving
this
his
nature.
position.
No,
Like,
this is
bro,
a
Moshi.
contradiction.
Yeah, no,
That
Moshi
wait, no,
keeps changing
wait,
his
Where's the
position.
contradiction?
wait. Did you hear that just now, Qtop? What he just said?
Bro,
So, Mike,
Everything's contained within this quantum state.
no,
Everything's contained within it.
here's the contradiction. Here's the contradiction. Okay, I'm gonna try to lay it out as simple as possible for everyone. I'm pretty sure it was very clear, but I'll just do it
he's
anyway.
saying that nature is independent, but then what nature is comprised of is literally dependent. So like that's the contradiction, because like what this thing is comprised of entails the contradiction, because you're saying it's independent, but it's comprised of things that are dependent. So it doesn't make any sense. Like literally, it
What
doesn't
do you
make any
mean?
sense.
Well, God, do you think God is everything? Or God is
No.
everywhere?
Yes, God is not
Then
everything; He's everywhere.
Okay, then we're contained within God, or right? So we're made up of God is made up of us. We are part of God.
No, that's not what that means when it says God is everywhere.
We are part of God.
God says God is space.
Wait, hold on. Just do you think God embodies me?
No, not at all.
So I'm an independent existence from God?
What do you mean by God embodies you? How are you defining embody?
Does God's existence embody all things?
Okay, so can I answer this, Qtop?
Yeah, you have to like expound on what you mean by
Okay.
embody. You just keep restating the same thing. I'm
Are
asking you
we
to define
contained?
embody.
Are we contained within God's existence?
Yes.
That we are parts of God?
No, that's not what that means.
Yes, it does. If there's something contained within my bottle of water, this water makes up the bottle.
Yeah, that's not what that means.
Makes
So
up the bottle of water. Yes, it
yes,
does.
did
It
you
makes
want me?
up the
Would you like,
totality of existence. So the
Mike?
same
Are
thing
you gonna,
applies to the quantum state,
Mike? I'm
where
letting you speak.
space-time is emergent of the state, and this quantum state embodies everything else. And you don't need God for this.
Can I address this? Is that okay?
Yeah, because he won't let me speak. So
Okay, so it's very simple. Okay, since Qtop is a Christian, I'm gonna bring a biblical verse, and then I'm gonna bring a Quranic verse. Okay, so in Jeremiah 23:23 to 24, it says, "I am a God who is everywhere, and not in one place only. No one can hide where I cannot see them. Do you not know what I am everywhere in heaven and on earth?" So he says, no one can hide where I cannot see them.
I don't give a shit
So
what the
this,
Bible
so
says. Stop with the
I'm gonna
fucking Bible.
I'm
It's
gonna help
stupid.
you understand. I'm
I'm
gonna help you
talking about
understand.
you have not
I'm
given
helping you
evidence for God.
understand.
You
It's
guys
in
are running
reference to his.
away. Stop. You're
Yes,
running away
I'm
from the fucking problem. The elephant in the room remains. You have not
to
given us
address
evidence
you.
of your God. I'm sick and tired of hearing the Bible. Give
Why
us
are you
evidence of God or
emotional?
go
Why are
away.
you upset?
You're wasting our
So,
time. You're
yeah,
wasting our
no,
time.
this is what he does.
bro,
This is what he does, and then he doesn't let
can we
people
address you?
speak. So yeah,
Give
no,
us
that's
evidence of
what.
God or go away.
Okay, thank you. Can I address you now or no? You
Yeah, where's the
emotional
evidence of your
Nancy?
magic Allah
Okay.
guy? Muhammad. Give us evidence of God.
So I'm gonna address two things that you've said. Please don't interrupt me. Okay.
No problem. I would interrupt. I'll just cancel you. Next. Hey, do you have evidence for God, Qtop?
Yeah, bro. So hold up, before I address you, bro. First off, bro, don't be disrespectful, man. Like seriously, that's not cool, bro. So
Great.
what I'm gonna say is this. So you asked me a question, right? You're talking about are things contained within God's existence. Okay, God exists. So there's creator, then there's creation. Okay, we are creation. Okay, so now you're asking, are we contained within?
No. I
Bro,
didn't come
let
here
me
to get a
speak.
fucking
Mike,
preaching session. Give
Mike,
evidence of
you
God. Give evidence of
literally
God.
Mike, you asked me this question and you never let me address this question, bro. Like you can't ask me a question and then I can't address it.
Just give evidence.
Like, bro, I will. Because you can't prove that
right
God
now, bro. Like right now.
Mike.
Qtop. Let's go. Give us evidence of your magic man that died on a stick for no reason.
You literally are living in a universe in which there is a necessary being, bro, and you're a fool because you
All
walk
right.
on, bro.
All right.
Literally,
Well,
God.
guys, I gotta go. That was fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my YouTube. I'm gonna post this tomorrow so you guys can watch the whole thing. Go to my YouTube. I have lots of videos about I have all my debates there. I have all of my science videos there. I have everything there. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I want to go because I'm really tired. I didn't expect this live to be so long, but Moshi, I'm not scared of you, bro. I let you and Qtop up here at the same time for an hour. How the fuck do you think I'm scared of you? Come back tomorrow, sir. Like, come on. Like, we've debated several times and you've lost every single one. I'm not scared of you, sir. You might be scared of the quantum state, though. All right, guys. I gotta go.